Hello, I'm local Democracy Reporter Emma Draper, and I've been speaking to the Chair of Ramsey Commissioners, Rob Cowell, about how the local authority has fared this year. He says it's been difficult, but is hoping that come April, residents will be able to have their say and give the Commissioners a mandate, something which has been missing from the last few elections.
It's been a tough year, I think is probably the best way to describe it. We've had a really big roller coaster of a year. We sadly lost Lennon Singer this time last year. We sadly lost Stephen Kelly this year. So we've lost two board members. We had a by-election for a new member in Sandra, and it was great to welcome her to the board and bring new blood and energy. We've been through the boundary extension. We're going through the Civic Amenity Site. We're going through a new town clerk change in position there, change in personnel. So it's been a really difficult 12 months for me personally, trying to manage and deal with a lot of things that come your way. And it's amazing what you have to deal with. You don't really anticipate or expect that when you first sign up to be a commissioner.
There has been a couple of big events for you, which was the boundary extension and the NCAS situation. So how will you be learning from those two big events and taking that forward into the new year?
Really difficult. The boundary extension was disappointing. A lot of effort, work and money was spent on that. It wasn't my board that set that course, but it was the board before, and they dictated that was the road we were going to go down. The lessons out of the boundary extension are crucial to take and to learn. We haven't even really finished the post-mortem of that process. I think realistically we can look at it and go, the north is where the extension will come from in the future, and the boundary extension talked a lot about rate reform and how Ramsey is a service centre. That's the words it used, and how the northern parishes can contribute to that service centre is something we need to look at in the future. But rate reform's at the top of the agenda. It is the fundamental principal issue with the Civic Amenity Site as well. So you can cut the cake as many times as you want. The fundamental core theme is rate reform.
In hindsight, do you think that the boundary extension was the right move and the right decision for the town?
Yeah. I still think Ramsey needs to expand. It needs growth. Everything needs to grow. Historically, the town has grown and the boundary has moved afterwards. And if that's the precedent and that's the way they want to play the game, then that's what will happen in the future. But I think it was an exercise we needed to do. It was an interesting journey, and the conclusion was very interesting. It's given us a pathway for the future, I think.
You also had a by-election this year, which had a turnout of 18%, which is quite low. So what will the local authority and the board be doing to try and increase that ahead of April?
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about this internally. Now April's coming and the election is here, and I'm very excited that I really hope we can drum up some interest in new blood to stand force an election. There hasn't been an election in Ramsey for quite a long time, and just to get people's interest up there, it's a very important role. I don't think people really understand how important it is and how crucial it is, but I think there is a few things that happen when people go, well, it's not right, but the only way you can change that is to stand, or at the absolute least to vote. You have to vote, because if you don't vote, it's very difficult to have any say or come back on it. What the commissioners do is very important, and it's so important that we get a mandate as well.
What would you say to people who are thinking of standing and who maybe hear this and go, actually, I feel like that might be something I would want to do? What advice would you give to them?
Initially, I was on the fence about whether I should stand, and in the end I was shoved over the line by a Mr Peter Whiteway at the time. He said, Rob, if you want to actually make a difference or do anything, you have to stand. So I did, and 3 years later I'm the chairman of Ramsey Commissioners, and very proud to be so. And the leadership challenges I've been through have been great for my personal development, if nothing else. It really is educational, and it's important to be involved in your community, and important to give something back to it, and it's a really good way of doing that.
The NCAS situation will be something that is brought into the new year as well. So how would you be looking for that to be resolved?
It needs resolving. It's as simple as that. Central government don't have an answer, but the problem is, nor do we. There's 6 parishes there, and we just cannot agree on a way forward. Bride obviously want to pay less, and that's fine. However, who pays more? Nobody is willing to pay more to subsidise somebody else. Again, it comes down to rateable value. It comes down to rate reform. They don't want to pay out on the rateable value. Well, that's okay, but the rateable value has to change for them to receive a lower rateable value. So, there's no easy way out of it. Do I want it resolved? Yes, I do. Do I think it would be a loss to the north? Yes. Do I see at this minute in time anything on the table that resolves the issue? No, I don't. And that's the harsh realities of it. Difficult decisions have to be made. That is my job. I don't want to be the big bad guy who closes that site down, but it it isn't me. Ultimately, this is a panel of various different boards, various different commissioners on the committee that run it, and there is not a way forward that we find acceptable to everybody, and that's the issue.
And how much time has that taken up from the local authority?
It sucked the life out of the local authority, and it is endless in terms of time. So Ramsey's got two interests here. Obviously, we've got the running of the site for administration, and we've got the user for the public. As sad as it is, if it disbanded back to central government, the local authority would lose a big headache in terms of its management. It really has been difficult.
The commissioners put the rates up to 495p at the beginning of the year. On reflection, how has that impacted the board, and was it the right decision?
Yeah, it was the right decision. In a macroeconomic environment last year, it was something we'd never seen before. So we had to budget for something that it could have been biblical. Did it come? Not really. We have seen increases in costs. It's allowed us to be probably more efficient this year, and looking at next year in terms of a rise, it will be, I would expect, a lot less, because we had that safety net, if it were. So whilst it's never popular, is it? But you have to move with inflation, and we do live in a very turbulent environment at the moment. Yeah, all I want to say to the people who live in Ramsey is thank you for your support. It really does mean a huge amount when you go to things like the fireworks switch on or the Christmas lights switch on, and you see the community come together. And it does make it all worth it. It really does warm your heart. So really all I want to say to the people who live in Ramsey is thank you, and have a great Christmas.
Thank you for making it to the end of the Manx Radio Newscast. You are obviously someone with exquisite taste. May I politely suggest you might want to subscribe to this and a wide range of Manx Radio podcasts at your favourite podcast provider, so our best bits will magically appear on your smartphone. Thank you.